Alright. 5, 4, 3. Welcome everyone. This is Harm's Way Podcast. I am your host, Craig, with my Bradley Cooper looking brother, Eric. Eric, how you doing today?
I'm feeling fabulous.
Really? You look a little sweaty. You feel
No,
okay?
I feel like shit.
Eric's dealing with some gut issues, so am I. Happens.
You didn't have to tell him that.
Why not?
Why?
Everyone has gut issues. We just have them
All the time?
4 times a week.
4?
Yeah, that's alright.
40?
40? 40's a lot. And a little blood's healthy, right?
I think so.
Okay.
What's it mean
If
when
we're
your-
wrong, somebody tell us.
What's it mean when your poop is white?
White?
It means you're dying.
Does it really?
I looked it up.
Like actually, like white or like
Yeah, it was weird. Like
like white, like this paper.
Yeah, like I was going through there's different colors, right? For different things.
I know.
And it's like you
green
got
and black.
You got the usual suspects, but then there was like yellow, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Like bile.
And I think it had like something to do with
bile.
No, I think it had something to do with liver, but the one that stood out to me was white. I was like, white.
White.
Whoa, that's
I thought that could only happen in an Afro Man song.
I kind of just blacked out there for a minute.
Like it literally means you're dying. Like
Yeah,
internal
it was the
bleeding
one
or
that
what?
it was the one where, like, if it's white, get to emergency room now. And I was like, oh fuck! And like
That's
I couldn't
white.
ever,
It ain't right.
I couldn't ever imagine it being white. So I'm like,
Now you got me scared to take a dump.
but enough about this shit. Let's roll into our next topic.
Touche. We literally open up a show talking about shit.
So I wanted to float.
All right.
I wanted to float this. Oh man, I've done it now.
You're on a roll, man.
I've opened up Pandora's toilet.
You need to wipe.
I wanted to float this out for a while now, because we were talking about jobs the other day. You've had quite a few. I've had quite a few. But my question is, and the audience might be able to level with us on this, but my question is...
All 4.
Shut up. We say that every week. Or we say that every episode. My
Small.
question is,
Small.
have you ever encountered an HR department that is not just the most worthless group of scumbags you've ever encountered?
This is a very loaded topic, and I don't know why, but I feel like commenting on this the wrong way.
I just don't
It's gonna
understand.
get me fucking fired, and
I just
we
don't understand.
HR is known as the big sweat. You walk by their offices, you don't make eye contact. You don't talk to them unless they talk to you. We'll get into the...
You don't have to talk about it in the context of your...
I know, and I'm not... This isn't particular... I might not even be talking about my current representation, or my current job. I might, but I might not.
Well,
but I mean...
I didn't say you had to talk.
I'll give you a good and bad, okay? Because I have a friend that currently works for an HR department. I think he does. Works in the HR department for a previous job that I had that we may or may not have talked about on the show. That actually I worked with Justin at. And he's kind of... It's been a while since I've worked there, so I don't know the dynamics of it now. I feel like when he got in there, it was really good for him. And I feel like he was like the perfect person to get in there and not be a corrupt son of a bitch. Because that HR department, believe it or not, was okay, but it only got better by adding him. You know what I mean? So he also was with me. Like we literally started in the pit, so it was like a started from the bottom. Now we're here kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like I was happy for homie to make it out the hood, right? And he made it out of the pit, and then worked his way through shipping and receiving like I did, and then got an office job shortly after I did. So it was great. He was great at it, like right off the rip. Good guy. He didn't like firing people, which I don't understand why people don't like firing people. I feel like I would fucking love firing
Well, I feel
people.
like if you were forced to, it'd be pretty tough.
Like if you didn't know the person, yeah, okay.
I mean, there are some dead to rights individuals that's like, yeah, this is going to be a total pleasure. Like, I'm going to have fun with it.
That's what I mean.
I'm going to be a total sociopath
yeah,
about it.
You got no problem.
But there's going to come times where it's like, maybe not firing, but like laying off.
See, I feel like laying off's different. I could do that too, just because.
Well, no, because it's like
it's a more like mad at the situation, not at the person kind of deal. Unless I'm physically picking them.
But they're still losing their job. If somebody losing their job, and it's
but
not
if you're
because
losing
of
your
them,
job,
it's because of the situation. That's pretty
that's
thing
different.
to deal with.
If you're getting fired because you did something. If you're getting laid off, it's because something happened to the company.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to make that distinction.
Oh, then I feel like I would still be okay at that.
Yeah, I kind of disagreed with you there, but I was talking about two different things.
I only got half my point out anyway. So I'm not going to name him. I'd like to eventually have him on the show. Great guy. Him and I are pretty close. Another one of those guys that could call me up and I'd, go out.
Is it Justin?
No, it's not. It's not Justin. Justin knows him, but the bad side of it is, I don't know. It's I always compare it to the mafia. I feel like even CEOs who are untouchables within the company, I feel like even CEOs are afraid of HR departments sometimes. It's that bad because.
Oh yeah, you can.
And especially
some things can result in like lawsuits and shit.
I've seen an HR department actually, I almost said physically, but theoretically cannibalize themselves, like from inside out, and take a 6-person
department. They fired each other?
Yeah, take a 6-person department and it
like
turns
some
into
kind
a
of
two
schizophrenic Mexican standoff?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how someone in HR gets told by someone else in HR to pack their shit. Like,
who's fucking who at this point?
Exactly. I don't know. And it was weird because, it was the majority of the people that got fired were I'll say it, they were all male. Not majority, they were all male. And it was kind of like, I don't know if it was like a Sheba kind of feminist undertaking that was kind of taken over.
They all got Me Too.
But yeah, it was the weirdest thing because I was like, all right, well, so and so hired me. I didn't think there were anything wrong. So and so hired 6 other people that I know still work here that are great for this company. What could you have possibly done?
See, that's what you told me about.
But then the one chick that did get it, we know why she got it, and it just took 9 years. But yeah, go ahead.
But the one guy we know, that was like a total surprise to me. I was like,
absolutely.
I was like, you just kind of shot yourself in the foot getting rid of him. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
And I still to this day only know partials of the truth. And that's the thing too. When someone from HR gets canned, and this again, multiple different positions that I've seen this with multiple different companies. When someone from HR gets canned, it's like the Secret Service. You don't fucking know. Nobody talks about it. You'll have one person being like, "Oh, I know," blah blah, bragging on it. Boom, they're fucking gone too. Or they get a horse head in their bed or some shit like that. They don't talk. So a normal person gets fired, a normal engineers, they get fired or whatever. Oh, they're parting ways with the company, or they're leaving to start their own stuff. The plant manager that left, they sent out something. He's starting his own business or his own ventures.
That's what I heard.
Or people get fired, they're like, oh, so and so was broke the code of conduct or something like that. When HR people get fired,
I don't believe that for 1 second because everybody. Never mind. I'm not going to get into it.
What, the code of conduct?
I just realized who we were talking about. But anyway,
I didn't want to.
No, my experience when I was there was that everybody wiped their ass with the business code of conduct. Everybody wiped their ass with it.
And then they use it as a shield.
Joke. Which in contrast, the airline I worked for. I'm not going to name them. In contrast, they were actually very good about respecting. They called it the rules of the road, which was the business code of conduct, how we should, conduct business and work with each other. Yeah, it's kind of. Anyway,
you said they were more structured. And more
I was gonna try to make a joke there, and I just kind of blanked again. But anyway,
you all right?
Yeah, so they were a lot more structured. And I remember way back, people were very amicable, and if somebody called out the rules of the road, everybody was like, you know what, you're right, kumbaya. And it was it was good to see that.
Yeah.
As an intern, because I took that with me into my professional career, and like it's like that's how adults do business.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I had situations later on in my career where, like I said, people just wipe their ass with it. No ethics whatsoever. And anyway, if you had to fire somebody, how would you do it?
Ugh, this is actually a great topic.
Remember what we were talking about the other day?
What am I firing them for? Are they bigger than me?
Sexual harassment.
For real?
Yeah, let's go with that one.
All right. I'm going to take some notes. So, sexual harassment. Harassment.
You remember what we were talking about the other day about me serving people fakes a penis?
Yeah.
I'd probably try to do it that way. Are you so-and-so? Yeah. You've been
How
served.
long have they worked for the company?
There's nothing on that.
Do you need another one? We can get the secretary to
No,
bring
we're
it down. Okay. I'm just kidding.
No,
There's
don't
no
acknowledge her.
secretary.
That's a good question too.
How old? How long have
How
they
would
been?
that change your approach?
Well, yeah, because I'm not going to do this for real. I'll just tell you.
Let's say it's somebody that's been
Sexual. First of all, you picked a very.
Let's say it's somebody that's 25 years.
25 years.
Because you know how there's some you know there's some people
Okay, first
they think
another
they're
name's
untouchable.
probably Owl. If they've worked there 25
they think
years,
they're
and
untouchable
getting canned for
because they've been there for so long and they get a little cavalier with
Well, that's
shit.
the thing. What position?
Or they're paid a shitload so they think they're untouchable. What?
What position? So 25 years. What position? Are we talking like a blue collar, like worker on the floor? Or are we talking about somebody in the office? Because if it's somebody on the floor, you know this might be a one-off because they probably never worked with women.
I'll tell you right now, and this might make me a complete shitbag. I will never turn somebody in on the floor.
That's what I mean. Too.
Somebody that works on the floor, I will never turn them in. I don't give a fuck what they say in front of me. I don't care. Somebody in the office, that's a different story.
I don't know because I can't cover this point without giving a name.
You don't have to like.
But
why you gotta like?
Because I would respectfully disagree with you for this last person.
And I would totally understand because I know that makes me a shitbag.
But I want to make sure you know who I'm talking about. But
I don't care who you're talking about. I was trying to make a point.
Only on the fact that like, if I heard somebody saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy," or something like that, then I'd be like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about like, weird, guy
It's
to
like
guy
self-defense.
stuff.
Somebody calls you a name, whatever. But somebody says, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." Then it's like, okay, you gotta do something.
Yeah.
It's like self-defense.
So an office person. So right there, sexual harassment, 25 years with the company, office worker. Those are the things I would need to know.
One of those real smug pricks.
Well, that's what I mean. So I'd have to be direct. I'd have to have my proof. So this has already been investigated.
I'm thinking like you ever see Moneyball?
Yeah.
Remember Jonah Hill when he had to tell the one guy that he got traded?
Great. Yeah, he was so like.
Yeah, he just like pointed to the paper on the table. He's like, "There's your instructions for getting to your next team.
Yeah, that was so common.
Good luck with everything." I'd probably do it that way.
Really? That's how you do it? See,
I'd be a total robot about it.
If it was another situation, maybe I would probably. I don't know. I feel like
if it was an intern or something.
If it's sexual harassment, that's borderline legal issues getting involved after that point. So I would have to have the facts and.
You got to do an investigation before you.
That's what I mean.
Move to fire somebody.
But you're saying I'm already firing them.
Yeah, we're already done that. We're beyond that.
So I would put the facts out there front and center for them. Mm-hmm. I'd have to go at them like I was going at them in a courtroom. I'd have to make sure that they had no way of wiggling out of this and being like, and then I would blatantly point out that they're shitting all over the code of conduct. What did you just say?
I said that's what handcuffs are for.
Fuck you. And then I would basically have to like trap them into admitting to me that you cannot work at this company anymore because of what you did. Now I would assume that the sexual harassment would be pretty fucking severe or serious.
Yeah.
And the proof you had is pretty damning.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of those fucking investigations, HR calls it investigation, but what they do is what was that?
So what if it was a woman?
Like a woman getting canned?
Yeah.
I feel like I would
just walk
do
away
everything that I was doing.
Sued.
I would do everything that I'm telling you, but I would just feel better inside. Like we as men, 1-1. for once. You know, like the Amber Heard verdict. Like every guy was like, "That's a good topic too." So
I'm having all these questions pop up now that I didn't think of before.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, dude, you got a great conversation topic right there. It was like watching the Amber Heard verdict. Like every guy was like, "Thank you, we won. We finally fucking won one."
It's kind of bittersweet though, because Johnny Depp's just a shitbag. Like we all know he's a shitbag.
Nah, I don't know. Like, yeah,
Again,
that was funny
I love
too,
his movies
because everybody was like pulling for him and stuff, but he's still talking like about having like a fucking Tupperware jar full of cocaine on his fucking coffee table and just
they said
cutting out the lines and stuff.
They said something about what they said. They said they asked him a question about the container, and he was like, "Well, you can fit a lot of coke in it." That's what I don't know, but you can fit a lot of coke.
You're still like you're rooting for the guy, you love him, whatever, but you're like questionable choices during all this. We'll get to that. So back to your question. Yes, I would present all the facts, all the proof, everything up front, and then I would basically, honestly, I don't think it would be a long meeting. I'd be like, "Hey man, you're fucking toast. All right, first off, what you did inexcusable. Mm-hmm. You violated such and such guidelines of wipe your ass or use it as the Bible, who fucking cares? But what you did was wrong, and you got caught. I'm sorry, but you're no longer employed by this company anymore." And then I would just, I would make sure that somebody dropped me off at work that day, because I don't want my tires slashed. And that's it. I would just ask them to leave and said, "Hey, we don't have security, but we brought in special security to walk you out. I am supposed to say security, good luck,
so I just level a pistol at him from across the table."
Like Tom Hardy in that movie. Fucking sing! I just watched that again.
He didn't point a pistol at him.
No, he pointed his finger. He's like, fucking sing!
Then he walked out of the church.
I love it.
Why'd you leave the church?
Because you can't stand there. You can't stay there in a Catholic wedding after you just said fucking sing to the
that's a great movie.
The bride's mother. Yeah, it is.
I thought I came here for a rumble. Or what do you call it? Rumble or something?
A shootout!
Yeah.
A proper shootout!
Yeah, he's got 2 hammers in his pockets like some fucking goon.
Yeah, that was great.
Good movie.
Yeah, so that's basically how I would do it.
What if you had to fire an intern?
I feel
like it would be like, I feel like that would be like kicking a puppy.
No. I would spin it into some, learning experience.
I would too.
Hey, kid.
It wouldn't be a robotic conversation.
There's times when you just get kneecapped by life. And sometimes life gets better. But for you, it doesn't right now. And then I would just try and be
I really appreciate that, Craig. You've been a great mentor in the time I've been here.
Don't come to work tomorrow. You're too good for this place. Or maybe you do that. Maybe you'd be like, you know what? You know when you woke up this morning, you wanted to intern here? Yeah. Don't. Just go. Go somewhere else.
There's a silver lining to this.
Not
this place is a shithole.
So, okay. Back to the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp stuff. So, another movie, and I can tie most of our life experiences back to a movie somehow, which I fucking love.
Does that make us like the cable guy? He's just raised on TV shows.
Hi.
We learn the facts of life by watching the facts of life. Steven, my lisp is gone.
Steven. Anyway, have you ever? So the whole thing about this is
we talking about
shedding
the trial?
to light. Yeah, was people realizing how big of a shitbag, pun intended, Amber Heard is.
Yeah. And I should have said that earlier. Like,
and
Johnny's a shitbag, but she kind of one-upped him.
Oh my god, it's like a hold my beer situation. So, and we can all tie this back to toxic people, toxic women, if you want, which we'll get to that later.
I mean, really, this was a him versus her thing, and I feel like it should have been resolved where they both lose.
Oh, they
both just get fined like $10 million.
You gotta realize they both did lose, because in prior court cases or whatever, she won, and he was, had to pay her large sums of money and all kinds of stuff like that. But this was 100% a lose-lose because he lost movie contracts. He lost. Disney dropped him.
He lost a shitload.
All this stuff dropped him, and she got promoted to. She's planning to be in all these Aquaman movies and all these DC movies and stuff, and she had this full, schedule of movies and shows she was supposed to be in for the next decade, and he had relatively nothing, which is a shame because it's Johnny Depp. Dude could act like this microphone and win a fucking Oscar. But what to me is so comical is the light that got shed on how she is as a person and what it is. And I watched this movie a while back, and it's called All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. And I don't know if you've ever seen it. I
haven't seen it, but I know it.
Highly recommend watching it. I don't want to give a spoiler away. You can watch it. We'll come back and talk about it. That's fine. But how I envision Amber Heard is in real life is the reason she did such a great job acting in this movie is because I don't think she was acting at all. I think this movie, she played Mandy Lane in this movie. I think this is her. To a T. It's creepy.
Is it kind of just like about the neighborhood slut or something?
No. It's a horror movie. Or it's technically, it's supposed to be a horror movie. But it's...
Oh, is it like a Venus flytrap kind of thing?
I feel like we'll bring... Yes.
Okay.
We'll bring this up after you watch. The only thing I ask is, like, if you have time tonight to find it, or if you can find it somewhere else, watch it and we'll talk about it either the next show or whatever. Because you're gonna look at all you've learned from this trial about her, if you've caught up on it, or if you know anything about her, and you're gonna watch this movie and you're gonna be like, holy fuck. Because, like, everybody's talking about how all this fucked up shit she did to him and how she's a giant scumbag and everything. And nobody's talking about this fucking movie. Because this movie, first of all, it's not I think it's a B movie. It's a movie where if you and I went to Family Video back in the day, we'd have saw it in the middle section, maybe. Those of you that are movie geeks and liked Blockbuster and Family Video, you know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. But it'd be a middle section movie.
Yeah, the ones they put in the VHS cases that they had left over from 15 years ago.
Yeah, it'd be the ones that mom and dad would go in there and go right to and buy. It'd stay away from the Outer Edge, the newer shit.
Hey, what's that. Donkey Punch?
Oh my god. What's Porky's? No, I'm just kidding. I knew Porky's. But yeah, watch this, and that goes for all you viewers out there, all 7 of you. If you... We'll just watch this movie. Try and find this movie. I think I found it on Prime, but that was a couple years ago. It's from... I want to say it's from around her Never Back Down time, when she was in that. Because that's the one everybody referenced, because she was kind of a scumbag in the beginning of Never Back Down, right? Bro, All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. You're going to be like... it's going to hit you. You're going to be like, wow, Craig was right. But yeah. Watch that movie, and yeah, I don't. Like I said, if I wanted to completely ruin it for you, and I knew that we weren't going to talk about it some other time, I'd just go through the entire thing. But I want you to watch it. I might actually go back and try and watch it.
I'm right in the middle of the Dahmer docuseries.
Ooh, that's another one I want to talk about too. I am like 3 episodes in. What's that cat's name from American Horror Story?
Evan Peters.
Dude.
Yeah.
Pretty good, right?
I think it's pretty good.
I think he makes it pretty good.
A certain somebody on the radio when I was on the way to work the other day, he was shitting all over him.
Evan Peters or Dahmer?
He was shitting all over Evan Peters.
Why? He dated Halsey, didn't he? I think he dated Halsey.
But, yeah, he was going on a tirade about how he's a shitty actor and stuff like that, and then he mentioned American Horror Story, and the way he was talking, I was like, I kind of got the feeling, I was like, bro, you've never seen American Horror Story, because he said like, oh, Evan Peters is always playing a serial killer or whatnot, which is just fucking false.
Oh my god!
So I don't think that guy actually watched American Horror Story.
Side note, he was in Never Back Down too.
Yeah, he was.
Go ahead.
He was the nerdy friend that couldn't fight to save his life.
Yeah, I got his ass kicked by Cam Gadgen, whatever the fuck that guy's
French fucker.
Gabagny. Go ahead.
Yes. Dobroiche.
That's Slavic.
Arrivederci.
Gorlami.
One more time. Gorlami.
C.
I forgot where I was at. My brain is fucking fried right now.
You said, you started Evan Peters being a shitty actor, which
he just like he went on this
offensive
tirade about him being shitty and whatnot, and I was just kind of taken aback, and I'm kind of pissed that I wasted my whole commute listening to his.
But you could tell he's never watched.
Gibberish.
Probably.
Yeah, I got the feeling he never watched, and I was like, okay, he's just, But anyway, no, I think it's been good. It's been really good so far. I ruined it though. Remember I said I went through his entire Wikipedia page? Dahmer, not Peters.
Are you telling me you didn't know most of the stuff about Dahmer pre-watching that anyway?
Correct. I didn't know most of the stuff about him.
See, Dahmer was one of the ones that Mom and I would discuss all the time.
I don't know nearly as much shit as you. I mean, I knew who they were. I knew when I say they, I'm talking about Dahmer, Gacy, Bundy.
Sorry, my leg itches.
Like I knew who they were. I knew they killed a lot of people, stuff like that.
You didn't know what stood them out.
The one thing I did know was Dahmer did the really fucked up shit where he like contorted the body, like the headless bodies and weird positions. And took pictures that like always.
Let me
preserve. That always sat wrong with me. That was
preserve really, stuff
really
and
fucked up.
The cannibalism and stuff.
Yeah, he wanted to keep them like his friends.
We had bleached skulls and stuff.
Like they were his friends or some shit. But anywho, yeah, I went through his entire Well, I can't remember if it was in the show. I think it was in the show somewhere. They mentioned like he went to Revere High School.
Yeah.
Or they mentioned he was living in Bath Township, which I knew was around here. And then I started looking at the page, and then I saw that he went to Revere High School, and I was like, oh shit. So then I just kind of went down the rabbit hole from there.
Actually, Revere might be Bath. I don't know. We're from slightly south,
But anyway, I thought, oh shit, man. I mean, this guy's like one of the most famous ones. I didn't know he was from, the area. Well, he's not from the area. He was born in Wisconsin, but he lived a good portion. I guess actually most of his life, because I don't think he didn't live that long. He got killed when he was in prison.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he spent like a significant portion of his life not far from here. So yeah, I went down the rabbit hole. And I was like reading the Wikipedia page while I was watching the show and whatnot. And there was a point where I got farther down the page than where I was at in the show. And I was like, oh, okay.
You're spoiling yourself.
Yeah, I kind of spoiled it myself. But like watching it unfold, you watch that first episode, just how tense it is and whatnot. And it's like,
very uncomfortable, very cringy. I think that's what makes Evan Peters so good at it, is he plays a cringeable person. And Dahmer was cringeable, 100%.
Yeah.
Dahmer
was cringeable. Yeah.
I mean, like even before people knew, like what he did, and who he was just that was the one thing everybody.
He was like the opposite of Bundy, because everybody loved Bundy, right?
Bundy
like,
was
Bundy was like a charismatic, charming. The women loved him and whatnot.
Peacock.
He was
and Dahmer was the worm.
Exact opposite.
Yeah.
Dahmer.
But.
Yeah.
Bundy, so the thing that kills me about all these, I call them the big three, and it's Dahmer, Bundy, and Gacy. At least the ones that I've had like researched and done papers on and stuff, and like psych classes. And, each one of them had something different. Bundy being the peacock, the one that would go out and. He was almost the reason that people stopped trusting people as much as they did in certain parts of the country, because the fucking police had sketches and what he looked like and his MO and how he would do it with the fake casts and the crutches and shit and his beetle. They had all this information out for years, and the dude kept doing it, kept driving the same car, and he was like his hubris was huge. And then you had Dahmer was just this giant fucking question mark, like of weirdness and like what he did. And I don't think Dahmer had nowhere near the victims that Bundy fessed to before they killed him.
One of the interesting things from the show is like his early childhood. he starts like dissecting animals and shit like that, and his dad was like right there with him doing it. Like
I think his dad was a professor or something, though.
Chemist.
Yeah.
Something like that. But it looking at it, it's like
Nowadays
okay,
there'd be...
This is a father thinking he's doing something where he's bonding with his son. But I recognized it immediately as, we now know nowadays, this is serial killer behavior.
Maybe you're fucking this kid up.
Yeah. Because that was back in the 60s. When, like, the FBI profiling shit was getting up and running.
No, wait. He was born May 21st.
1960.
Yeah. So this was, this is 68.
So,
66.
That was the thing that kind of stood out.
Don't ask me why I knew that.
Kind of stood out to me. The only reason I knew 1960 is because I read it this morning. But
it's either May 14th or May 21st, but yeah, go ahead.
Doesn't matter. But, yeah, that's kind of what stood out to me. I was like, oh, man. It was like one of those, oh, honey moments where you're just like, you don't know what you're doing. But that was during the time when, like, the FBI profiling shit was getting up and going. So, like, we hadn't fully fleshed out all that theory yet. So, like, what we know now today is, like, yeah, you look at that and you're like,
what'd you do?
Oh, shit, you're fucked. You know, but...
Yeah.
So that was kind of sad. Because, like, his, you know... Your activity that you bond with your son over became an FBI...
Is the reason that he...
Profiling result or whatever.
Yeah, killed and ate 17 people or whatever.
He didn't eat all of them.
No. He would have been too full.
Jesus Christ.
So, what kills me... So, when I started watching the show, it got... I thought, okay, episode 1 is already with his last victim. Because I knew how he got caught. And I knew a lot more facts than the average person going into that, because that's something that I inherited from our mother, was an infatuation with shit like that. Unhealthy at times. And I knew right away that it was his last victim. So I was like, oh, here we go. Another show where they don't show the build-up. They don't show... Because I get pissed about... Like, if I want to dive into these things and I want to immerse myself and get caught up in these shows, and you have 8 to 10 episodes or whatever, 6, 5, however many fucking episodes, and you want to start right off with the last victim. That's not what I want. I don't want to see the last victim. I want to see, 1 through whatever. I want to see where it started. Origin stories, shit like that. That's just, I guess, kind of how my mind works. And then you get to episode 2 and you're like, oh, okay, that's how they're doing it. All right, yeah. I can dig this. And yeah, I need to finish it, because it is like, people are fucking going crazy over it. And they're like, oh, how he's depicted as perfect, which Evan Peters
I think he did a great job.
Amazing job. Did you finish it or not?
No, I think I'm on episode 6.
Okay, you're substantially further than me, but I think it's a good watch.
Like 12.
Oh, is there? Okay. But it's one of those ones where, like, I gotta watch them when I have time to reflect and absorb. It's not something you put on to let, the time pass, or, to get freaky with your significant other. Like, you gonna want to pay attention to that if you're into that stuff. Maybe it is something you put on when you get freaky. I don't know, but I wouldn't.
God. Yeah, no.
It's no Paradise PD. No, I'm just kidding.
That was maybe a little bit too much.
Paradise PD?
Yeah.
Oh, they're trying too hard. It was entertaining, but they were trying too hard.
It was like Big Mouth.
Dustin,
you ever watch that?
I thought Big Mouth was done pretty good the first couple seasons.
Season 1 was fine, but then they ramped it up, and it was just too much. It wasn't funny anymore. It was just like, just cringy, and
see
like, oh, you farted. It's like, oh, that's not really funny. You're just
his beast monster when he talked would get me fucking going. I would laugh so hard. What else is there? There's some good things that like I told you, I think I referenced this the last episode, was Netflix will have me at a point where I'm ready to fucking cut it off and be done with it.
Yeah.
And then they'll just put out like 10 dimes. And I'm like, well, guess I'm stuck for another couple months. And then they just keep doing it. There's always like a lull you get to, and you're like, Netflix, I hate you. And then they just mag dump good shit on there, and you're like, oh, I fucking hate you even more, but yeah, let's keep paying you whatever you want. Take my money. Ugh.
Was there at any point earlier where you, during the fire, that you thought we might get in trouble for this? Did you think?
Was there a point where I thought that we might get?
Was there a point where you seriously thought, oh, we might get in trouble for this?
100%. Was there a point where I gave a shit? No.
Okay.
That's not me. I don't care. I mean, if the trees would have caught on fire, I feel like we should need to address this because we're just talking about.
Well, I wanted to segue into it because it was.
Eric and I had a bit of a bonfire that we were trying to make. We were trying to make a small fire.
It was more like arson. It was
a controlled environment.
It was impromptu. We just lit it with reckless abandon.
It was a controlled environment
and bigger.
It was
we
just
severely underestimated how big
it was
going to get.
More drier. I thought it was going to start in sections and like burn this section, then move to this section, and it turned out to be one of those ones where the neighbors came out and looked and they were like staring, and you didn't know if they were staring like proud of you or if they were staring like, should we fucking call the cops? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I did think that we were going to get.
I think Grandpa would have enjoyed it. He was somewhere flipping off the neighbors when we were doing that.
Yeah, he would have. He would have raged against the machine.
Yeah.
But
it was a lot neighbors. Like that was our version of him hanging out the back door with a 410 in the suburbs. It wasn't a 22.
No, the back window, the kitchen window was the 22. The back door was the 410.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, I didn't care though. I mean, what are they gonna do? We had it under control. We had the hose there after I ran into my fat ass and got it.
I was surprised that like you sprayed it for 6 seconds.
Yeah,
and it took it from like 16-foot flames down to like 3.
It started touching the other treetops, and I was like, all right, this was a bad idea.
When the wind was blowing, the angle was great. It wasn't that high, and then the wind stopped, and it just got like 5 feet higher, and it's like, oh, yep, it's burning.
I've never seen anything catch that fast. It took 2 or 1.5 fire starters, those little cardboard things, and then like a spritz of lighter fluid, charcoal lighter fluid.
Did I tell you about my friend burning his barn down?
Yeah, and the cops
He didn't want to disassemble it, so he just lit the fucker on fire. And then the neighbors called the
fire department.
He told me the neighbors called the fire department. They showed up, put it out, and they just said, don't do it again. If we have to come out again, then there's going to be consequences.
Why?
And he told me, he said, because he cleaned it out, and then he knew there was a bunch of like rodents and shit under the floor. So he was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the fire department only showed up because of the M80s I threw before I started the fire, because he was trying to clear the rodents out. I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
That sounds like the kind of neighbor I want. That sounds like a hell.
That's like I used to, you know.
And I like these neighbors.
You'd watch Hoarders back in the day.
Oh, God.
And I'd look at it and just be like, you know what, just burn the fucker down. Why would you even bother trying to clean it out? Just burn it down. Just the township will just issue you a one-time permit to commit arson, and then you're fucking done with it.
Where does he live that was an issue?
He's out in the country, but he's got neighbors that are close enough, like maybe like.
So somebody might have called because they were worried. Did he?
From
if he would have told them and said, "Hey, I'm burning this down. Don't call," do you think they would have understood and been all right, or you think regardless somebody was calling?
I think they were pissed about the M80s.
Oh,
damn, I think he pissed them off beforehand. Yeah, I think where he's at, it's like.
Why would he want to scare the road? I would just set it on fire. Like, if there's rodents and stuff under there and they.
Craig, I didn't say this made sense. I just thought it was a funny story.
That's valid. Okay.
It was a funny story.
Yeah.
And
no, I was
thinking about that when we were out there.
I was very surprised at how fast that shit went up.
Well, I was thinking about that story when we were out there. I was like, if the fire department does show up, we're just probably gonna get a warning. They're gonna put it out and be like, don't do it again. And then we're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
That's what I mean. Like, am I gonna get arrested for it?
I pay taxes.
No. Are they gonna tell me to stop doing that? Probably. I wasn't afraid of it. I was afraid if like the fence caught and then the neighbor's fucking shit caught and our shitty ass barn that's probably one good puff away from burning that down anyway. No,
I wouldn't burn that down. That'd be way too big.
Because I want to redo the platform and just make the platform bigger. to put a bigger, better barn or do the 2-car garage. But
you got to dig it out and do like a concrete foundation
for the 2-car garage.
So we don't have an army of groundhogs move in.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll take.
Well,
care
no,
of
I meant for the barn.
with you.
Was the barn going to get relocated?
I would like to keep that barn until we do the 2-car garage.
You think Dahmer had a barn?
Yeah. How else was he hanging meat? What I actually didn't know was that he was that involved with, like he was almost a butcher, right? Like he
worked in a deli at one point.
Yeah, that I didn't know. That was pretty. I knew he actually had a shack or something at his old house where him and his dad used to do.
Yeah.
And then he started
There's a hilarious
killing neighborhood pets and shit.
There's a hilarious part in the show because his mom was kind of a whack job.
His mom was fucking. Yeah.
Like his dad seemed like
a bunch of issues.
His dad seemed like an alright dude, but his mom was just like a whack job. Tried to commit suicide at one point.
He's trying to OD. Yeah.
There's a funny point in the show where she tries to like guilt trip him, and she's like, when you and your dad were doing all that stuff in the garage, you never once asked me if I wanted to help you with it. And he goes, well, I didn't think you wanted to. And she goes, of course I didn't fucking want to. It was disgusting. And I was like, I fucking died. She goes, but you could have at least asked me. And then her narcissistic ass got in the car and left. I was just like, wow.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. I didn't think you'd want to come cut the face of a fucking cat,
Yeah.
Toxic.
I thought it was just a weird bit of humor in the middle of just a show that's just like, man. Yeah, and I felt like I needed to take a shower after reading that Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
it was really
stuff he did.
Like I couldn't stop reading it, but it was like
pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
So out of the big three,
how do you think Dahmer would have done if he was an HR rep?
I think he would have fit in perfectly.
Yeah.
I think he would have ate less people.
Employee of the month, every month.
I think firing people would have meant something different to him.
He never used fire, but
how do you know?
Well, they know. He confessed everything. He like walked him through.
That's what was so freaky about.
Walked him through.
Yeah.
How he did it.
Well, it's because a lot of his victims were unknown.
And like honestly, huh?
I think a lot of his victims were like he didn't know them. They were just missing in the community.
Yeah.
So the only person that could have like connected.
I think I read that there was only one of his victims that was considered an acquaintance of his. Everybody else was like randoms.
All right, I'd have to.
I think I read that.
I'd have to dive back into it, or let me finish it and then I'll get back to you with that. Actually, we'll both finish it and then we'll circle back to this for an episode. Talk about it.
Circle back.
Because do you know anything else about the other two? Big three?
I know Gacy had them all like most of them buried in the crawl space. I know Bundy was the charming ladies' man, kind of like Saul Goodman if he was killing people.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's Gacy. Well, no, I know a little bit more about Gacy because I didn't want to admit this, but I started reading his Wikipedia page too.
Jesus Christ, Eric.
But
you gotta get online and get the. I highly recommend it. It's the Series 1 or Edition 1 of the A to Z Encyclopedia of Serial Killers.
You've told me about that before.
It's a good book. I read it.
Because you told me about Panzeram. Was it Panzeram?
Carl Panzeram was one of the most fucked up individuals I think this world has ever seen. Carl Panzeram and H.H. Holmes they're up there. They're wow is the only thing I can think of. And that's another one. Like Carl Panzeram, nobody knows how many victims. He was a transient. He rode trains from L.A. to New York several times. Nobody fucking knows how many victims he over a span of like 20 years. And he was just casually killing. So what they caught him with or what they got him to fess to was like enough to get his name out there. But what he actually did was probably way worse. Way worse.
You ever looked up like how many active serial killers there are?
No, I'd
Ones they
really
haven't
like to
haven't
continue to
caught
sleep
yet.
at night, but yeah.
I looked that up too.
Oh, you fucking idiot. I know there's a lot of people that haven't got caught. I know there's... Yeah, I don't know. That's
They listed off 9, I think.
9 active?
I think there were 4 of them were in the U.S.
4 active in the U.S.? No, I didn't know that. I thought
Active as in they haven't caught them.
But still killing people.
Potentially.
See, that I didn't know about.
Potentially. There may be
I figured that number would be a lot higher, though.
long time since their last victim, but they haven't caught them.
Well, see, that's the thing, too, is they don't... People hear serial killer and they think they're killing, like, every day, every week, every month, something like that.
Dahmer was getting close.
BTK...
It surprised
stopped
me.
for years.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
Actually, decades.
He got caught in the most boomer way possible, too. He started asking him questions about floppy disks and like pulling metadata and shit like that. And the cops lied to him. Were like, "No, we can't look at any of that." And they fucking could. And then they caught him. And then
he would also make Xerox copies of his letters that he would send in.
Yeah.
At the fucking library.
Yeah.
And people would see him and they would be like, I think that contributed too. Like he would have like the ransom shit like laid out, and he would just be making copies after copies to send to all these media outlets.
Yeah.
And people were just like, "Are you making a fucking ransom note?" And and then left.
Was it the classic one where he cut up the letters and fucking...
Yeah, like shit like that.
Jesus Christ.
Or he would maybe it was scribbled really bad, but it was like big enough letters that people were like,
yeah,
could read it behind him when they're standing in line to use the fucking copier. Like,
yeah. But going back to the active serial killers, I think there were like 3 or 4 that were in the U.S. One was in Russia.
Russia.
One's in Japan. Believe it or not, that's an interesting story. So, Japan is big on vending machines. They have vending machines everywhere.
For everything.
You ever seen like Japanese snacks and candy and stuff?
Yeah.
It's just millions of different kinds. Like, we here in the States we have like our go-tos like Kit Kat, Hershey, shit.
Yeah.
No, they just like they come up with a new idea every day, and they're just it's kind of cool. When I was in college, my one friend who was Japanese, he would always get care packages from his grandparents, and it was just like
from Japan.
Like you open up a care package and you got a bunch of like Hershey bars and Kit Kats, and it's like that's pretty exciting. His care packages were like they took it to 11. It was just fun. And he'd be like, "Eric, eat this. It's seaweed mixed with chocolate." I'm like, "What? What?" That's actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, they had some cool stuff. He had like the seaweed squares, like the dried seaweed squares.
Oh yeah.
I ate one of those one time, and it was far from the worst thing I've ever eaten.
Really?
Yeah. But anyway, the serial killer in Japan that they never caught, so they have shitloads of vending machines everywhere, and there was a particular brand of some drink that they were doing kind of like a promo where the vending machines would like randomly give you an extra one or something.
Yeah.
And what people over there would do, I want to say like culturally, but like, yeah, it was like a cultural thing. If they didn't want it, they'd set it on top of the vending machine. So some individual was coming around, grabbing the extra cans off the top, lacing them with some like neurotoxin or something, and then putting them back.
Oh God.
And I can't remember how many people they said died, like 30 or something like that, 30.
So he wasn't even like physically killing.
No,
he was
poisoning people.
Poisoning.
But it's kind of an interesting story. So yeah, there was one in Japan. There was one in South America, and this guy copped to like hundreds. They caught him, put him in jail. He got out, and they disappeared. Nobody's seen him in like 17 years. And it's like, it was really fucked up because his like every serial killer has a type.
Yeah.
Their victim has a type.
Yeah.
And they typically stay within it. You know, there's usually something that ties all the victims together. Like with Bundy, it was women, right? Gacy, it was young boys, or
it was like
young adult men and boys. Dahmer was
African American.
The majority of his victims were African American, but again,
did they ever really explain the why?
Well, they said the main From what I read,
they did always weird.
They said Dahmer's main type had to do with a particular like build.
Yeah.
So it was young men or younger men. I think some of his victims were in their 30s.
He did have some teenage ones though.
Oh yeah, yeah. He had one of his victims was 14 or something like that, and but anyway, you know what I mean, like build.
Yeah.
Like certain build was his type, and it was more prevalent in I guess he managed to find that build type more prevalent in African Americans.
Yeah.
It was more common. The build type that he liked was more common in African Americans, so that they think that's why the majority of his victims were black.
That's weird.
But the guy from South America, the fucked up thing was his was little girls.
Yeah, I can't do the shit with kids.
But they said
it's a no-go.
They said they estimated his victims were over 300.
Oh my god.
He got He got arrested the first time because he killed a little girl from like a native tribe, and they fucking like blood feuded with him, and I think he killed somebody from that tribe that was trying to kill him, and then he ended up in prison because of that. Got out, and then just kept killing. I think he said he estimated 3 a week. So something like that. Anyway, but then his ass ended up back in prison. I can't remember why, but then he got out and disappeared. Nobody knows why.
How'd they pen him to all this stuff, or did he?
I didn't.
You said he copped to so many.
Yeah, I remember reading it. I think he confessed to a
thing,
shitload of them or something.
The thing that killed me about Bundy was having a type and an MO and all that. He had his was like women like 18 to or 19 to 35 or whatever. Typically like college, age women.
Mm.
The one in Florida, because most of his murders were California, Washington, Colorado, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The one...
You're talking about Bundy.
Yeah. The one in Florida kills me because it was a 12-year-old girl.
Mm.
And it wasn't from what I've seen the picture, it doesn't look like a 12-year-old girl that looks... You know how sometimes you can have like a girl that matures earlier and, she might be 12, but she looks 18. I don't know how to say that without sounding like a weirdo, but damage is already done. But she was 12 and obviously looked like a 12-year-old girl, and when he was on the run, that's the one he killed. I never understood why he stepped outside of his motive or his type.
I don't know. Did you ever watch Dexter?
Dexter's one of my favorite shows. Yeah, I never got back into it because there's a whole nother season out now, but I also haven't purchased Showtime yet because poor and stuff. But
I was just asking. I wasn't going to go into that.
There's actually a guy that tried to be like Dexter several years ago.
Vigilante.
And he fucked up, and he got
killed the wrong person.
Caught. I don't know if he killed.
I want to say
he killed one person, but he was trying to. He quit his job, separated from his wife and his family, and he was so obsessed about killing his first person before he tried to be like Dexter, because he was too immersed in. It sounds familiar, but he's too immersed in the show, and he thought that he could be this serial killer of bad people, and he ended up maiming this dude who got away or fought him off, got away, and then I think he ended up catching another guy because he was leaving a bread trail right back to himself with online ads and stuff. And I think he ended up killing the other guy, but then panicked and fucked up, and the cops got right to him and he was done. But it was the first unsuccessful person. Well, I mean, technically he was somewhat successful, but the first person that said, "Oh, I only did it because of a show." That I can think of. I know there's been other people, but it was specific. How you can say, "I want to be like Hannibal," and eat people or whatever. But then it's the first one that's "Oh, Dexter." Dexter's really specific, because You can't like kill random people and be like, "Oh, I'm Dexter." That's not what Dexter did.
That's what I was thinking. I wanted to say I heard about somebody trying to copycat him, but they fucked up and killed an innocent person.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, because the guy that hit it up, well, he wanted to like stab him, like Dexter, and the first guy that got away, he couldn't stab right or something, and then
he didn't have him cellophane to the table.
no, well he had him like trapped or tied up, but they got away. Yeah, and while they were trying to find him, he lured somebody to like a different location, and they just used the gun. And it was like, boom. I think that's the way. Again, somebody's got to fact check us every once in a while, but that's what I remember it was.
Yeah.
And I just watched. Fucking lunch breaks are the worst. So I just end up watching stuff about serial killers, mass murderers, stuff like that. Again, call me weird, whatever, but just
true crime fetish.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Stuff I like thinking. I don't more or less like the whys. Like, why did they do it? When did they do it? How? I don't know. It's hard to explain. If I explain it, it just sounds even weirder. But most people understand where I'm coming from. But that's a good topic. If you do more research on the three, let me know which one fascinates you the most. We can riff off that if you really wanted to. Well, all three are kind of fascinating in their own right.
There's a series on Netflix about Bundy, and I did try to watch that like 2 years ago because they have Zac Efron playing Bundy. Shut up.
That one's hard to watch.
I fell asleep.
Yeah, it's very... So what killed me about that is Zac Efron played that really well, because if you actually think about Bundy back in the day, like, Zac Efron would be kind of somebody that...
Pretty boy.
Yeah, that tribute, and it's not a slam on him, but it's not like it matters. That's somebody who would contribute to what Bundy was, because you girls look at Zac Efron, they're like, oh my god.
Side note: Charlie St. Cloud is a movie that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, very underrated. Yeah,
I think so.
From one of his earlier works too, I believe.
I don't know.
I'm not pretending on that. What kills me about that is, again, so many people do Bundy movies. Nobody talks about in that show that you're talking about. One murder. They showed one murder. Now Bundy's done 30 something. Why aren't you
talking about the Bundy show, or are you talking about the Dahmer show?
The Bundy show.
Yeah.
The one with Zac Efron.
Yeah.
They showed one murder.
I think that's why I got bored and fell asleep, was because it was slow burn and a lot of the periphery events and shit that,
and that's not what I want to
up
watch.
and tried to explain.
I think they completely missed the mark on that one.
Happened.
And I think that's why it kind of failed like it did. I don't think it did as great as they wanted, because they immediately tried to follow it up with another one that just wasn't even close. So, I mean, you pull out all the stops, you get a big name like Zac Efron to play this prolific, infamous serial killer, and then you show one murder.
About the striker.
Shh, quiet you. And yeah, they missed it on that one. They missed it hard, and it sucks. Because
I was thinking that about the Dahmer show too, because they I don't think up to the point I've watched, I don't think they've actually showed him.
Like,
no,
they have.
They've shown, well.
I watched the previews, and I assume where you were.
It wasn't like I mean, he did some.
I don't know how much
he did
they're
some
going to show of
horrific
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Like the suspense and the sadness and all that.
But you got to think
they hit really hard. I expected them to be showing like a lot more like gore, horror, action scenes.
They showed some of the original photos, which I thought were fucking crazy.
Well, that one of the fucking body contorted back that's headless. I seen that a long time ago, and it's been burned into my head. That's
and then the vat of acid and stuff.
Yeah, he just had a barrel of acid chilling in his apartment.
Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so what's crazy about Dahmer is for each one that he killed, you don't know how many that he didn't. So he might have, because he was drugging people too.
One of his victims, he decided after the guy passed out that he wasn't attracted to him anymore. So he thought, oh, fuck it. Killed him anyway, but then 100% disposed of the body.
Oh.
Like, didn't keep anything.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And it was like, that kind of, man, that really...
Didn't do anything special or his photos or anything.
And what's really chilling is, like, reading through Gacy's shit. You know, like, they still don't know how many victims he had.
No, they don't.
And they still, the ones they know he killed, I think there's still like half a dozen of them that are unidentified, which is chilling.
Yeah, he didn't keep.
They don't know who they are.
Well, what kills me...
Well, like, they got the remains, but they don't know who they are.
You know, Gacy posed in a photo with, I want to say it was Reagan's wife.
Really?
Yeah. He was like an upstanding member of the community.
Well, he had a business.
He was a teamster, and he like ran like unions and shit.
What blew me away is, you know, he had that construction company. In like a couple of years, he had like half a dozen of his workers went missing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these assholes didn't like
put two and two together.
One of his early victims, like something, the parents of the victim had a hunch or something that he was the guy.
I don't know if that was the early or
I can't
his
remember
first or the late one, because that was a young kid. He was
I can't
like
remember
16 or something.
I can't remember what it was that like tipped them off, that made them think, hey, you need to investigate this guy, but the cops didn't.
Yeah. They
kept pushing for the cops to do it, and the cops wouldn't investigate him. But
several times actually.
But yeah, yeah, like there were a couple of Dahmer's victims where, because he disposed of them in the trash and whatnot, that they said that no remains were ever found.
And they don't, and like he's not going to know their names.
And that's chilling to me too.
Yeah, that's...
Of just like, they caught this fucker, they know what he did, and there's a few of his victims that like, they're just gone. They're just gone, don't exist.
That's actually pretty common with serial killers, is when shit like that happens. That's fucked up. Yeah, but to wrap it up, I would, if you want to touch on this later on in another episode,
we can always bring it up again.
I could go on and on. I mean, I think
we're good at an hour.
No, I mean, I could go on and on several.
Yeah, we can revisit it.
Sure about this. Yeah,
this is a topic that gets people going.
Yeah.
Like, whether you know about it or not, you got two crowds. You got the people like you that know all about it, or just like, man, I find this shit really interesting. I don't know all about it. Wouldn't
go that far.
And then you got people like me that maybe don't know a lot. I mean, I learned a lot in the past couple of days. I will say, I got a master class in killing people and getting away with it. Not that I'm going to put that into practice or anything.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I'm not going to get my license to dismember people.
Bone bleaching merit badge.
It's like the whittling chit, but it's for dismembering people. But yeah, you got people like me that don't know a lot, but like you can really just get them
dive
in. Yeah, they can dive in, start going down them rabbit holes. Yeah, I'm pretty fried. How are we doing on time?
1 hour 3.
Let's wrap it up.
That's why I said. Any closing thoughts, Eric?
No, I was agreeing with you. Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Rounding out another tough week. Oh, I forgot to mention, we've been shouting out the TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. The podcast sites that you can find us at. Was it Amazon Music, Spotify? I'm blanking. What's the third one?
I mean, there's a bunch of them, but...
Yeah, there's a bunch of smaller ones that people aren't going to be familiar with, but the big ones are Spotify, Amazon.
Did you get us on Apple yet or not?
I don't think so. It probably still says pending, right?
Yeah, it does. So Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, which I don't really know too much about that. Deezer. And Boomplay. That's about it. Those are about the ones that you're going to hear. That people are going to really know what they are. But other than that, yeah, I mean, you can find us at TikTok at HarmsWay8993, Instagram at HarmsWay Podcast, YouTube channel HarmsWay Podcast. Give us a shout, like, subscribe, download, whatever.
Sure, why
Give us
not?
any kind of love, even if you don't like us. We get it. I'd like to hear from you though. We have 0 comments on YouTube. I'd like at least a couple comments. That'd be kind of cool. We're working on putting something together to do some type of interactive back and forth eventually. Whether it be messaging on a live show or something like that in the future, we'd like to give that a go. I think that would be fun even just to dabble with. But yeah, that's all I got, Eric.
I'm good.
Until next time, bye.
Bye, y'all.
Love you. Auf Wiedersehen. Peace.